Dinarland highlights, the 4th of April 2020. Man 23. What a worldwide conundrum. So what is a better chance of happening in the future? 1. Iraq opens their market economy. 2. There is a global reset of debt and currency values. Personally, I tend to believe number 2 is in play as a real possibility. And if a reset on world economies came about, it would affect number 1 and their currency value. But waiting for Iraq to reach an open market economy with poor infrastructure and poor skilled labor pools with poor work ethics being the linchpin to gain value to the currency along with a stable government. If that's what Guru Caperoni is waiting on and follows 24/7. One word with a proven history proves it will never happen that way. That word is Iraq. Caperoni. A couple of weeks ago a member of parliament came out in 2 articles that the central bank was about to float the currency. We never heard anything further other than those 2 articles. Last week the Central Bank of Iraq announced that they were going to stop the auctions temporarily. This has had a negative effect on the dinar market rate as it provides a balance between dinars and dollars as well as providing a source of dollars to pay for foreign imports. As of today the market rate in Iraq has dropped to 1,260 to $1. This is a direct result of a lack of dollars available in the marketplace. We know from past history that when the exchange rate gets out of whack it takes many months to get it back in line using the traditional auction. So the CBI statement today is very interesting. The CBI announced today that this week dinar will change soon. And at the same time a member of parliament today stated that they stopped the auctions in preparation to float. Though none of this is definitive, it is very interesting and the pieces sound compelling that they may be going to float in very short order. But we'll just have to wait and see. Pimpy. Article. Al-Zafi challenges a Shiite force and requests an appointment for the confidence session. This guy is ready to get in there. The Prime Minister-designate Zafi said Friday that he will present his government program to Parliament tomorrow Saturday with the request to set the date for the session to give confidence to his government. I feel like finally we're gonna get what we want, and that is a Prime Minister in there with his government. He has a really good relationship with America and the Trump administration. And this guy is not a fan of Iran. Iraq is starting to look like it's stabilizing a little bit. With this new PM going in there. With this new government going in there. And Trump going in there, removing the influence and the grip of the Iranian people. Let's just hope it's time. Article. The economic advisor to the Iraq Prime Minister Salah. The process of increasing the foreign exchange rate of the Iraqi dinar always occurs during the official holidays. This is a natural and expected thing due to the current conditions. What are they talking about? They're talking about changing rate after the curfew. After the crisis. Is the rate change ready to happen? Is there any other articles out there that support this? Yes, there is. Article quote. The Finance Committee comments on Friday the central bank's decision to stop the dollar from flowing into the market with the aim of floating the dinar and reducing its value in order to fill parts of the budget deficit and the needs of the government. What does it want to do? It wants to lower the value of the dollar by floating the dinar. What this guy is saying is that the value of the dollar is strong against the dinar. They need to do something about that. We all know if they float the dinar that's based on supply and demand. We all know there's a lot of people that want to buy dinar. So what they need to do is lower the value of the US dollar. How are they gonna do that? By floating the dinar and allowing the rate to increase. Go ahead, do the pee-pee dance. It looks like a lot of this is lining up. Quote. Floating the dinar to fill part of the state's budget deficit is impossible. But it may be in harmony with the current situation to compensate for the shortfall of the oil revenues. They're saying, look, we need to do something to fill in the budget gap because of the shortfalls of the oil. And how do you do that? They need to increase the rate. We might be at the doorstep. Finally, people. Let's not get overly excited. But it's starting to look really, really good. RV already, TNT. I think CBI has been consistently trying to make the RV happen. On the other hand, since they are signatories to the GCR, once the price of oil goes back up, I think the UN will force the RV, independent of what Iraq is saying. I think the world has had enough of Iraq politics. And the UN will tell them all when to react. Chattels. Muddy has stepped away, but he has not left his post. It is a curious constitutional posture from what I understand. Zafi's government, people and policy program, are arguably dead on arrival. Both Ameri and Maliki oppose him. The Kurds have said that they will not support any PM-designate without a Shia consensus favoring that candidate. While I put my money on an increase in value of the dinar, I must allow for the probability that Mahdi will stay until elections in 2022 if the any government survives. Caperoni. Progress appears to be made on formalizing the new government and Prime Minister. A vote seems likely next week. Jeff. Article. Central Bank, the dollar's appreciation will end this week. They're basically saying during the current week they're going to try to implement some steps to reduce the high exchange rate or high value of the US dollar. They're telling you roughly somewhere during next week or even within a week that they're trying to devalue the dollar within the country of Iraq. Thursday's article said, they're basically saying around the next official holiday Iraq will increase their exchange rate. This article is telling you the same thing. That within about a week they're gonna curb the value of the dollar and reduce it. You've got two articles telling you the same thing from two different angles. That's amazing information. I think that they're now entering into week 4 for the rate change process. And I've told you that I felt through faith that I sensed that the rate would change approximately Easter Sunday, April 12th. Notice how the week we're entering into Iraq magically has the cabinet line up for votes. The timing. It's so perfect it's not coincidence. They made it unfold just like a soap opera. So magically perfect. They're telling you they're gonna finish the formation of the government this week. Then they'll change the rate next weekend. Then right after the rate changes Parliament will be ready to start the approval process of the budget sometime around the second half of April. That's not coincidence. That's all strategically planned. Pimpy. The more I read these articles the more apparent it looks like they're heading possibly to civil war. There's a lot of threats going on. We know that Trump has a new approach to Iraq, that is they want them to put their big boy pants on and want them to kick the training wheels off, and they wanted to start doing away with these Iran-backed militia groups. As a matter of fact Trump has put together a task force to go in there and start removing them. As far as the dinar is concerned it's going to happen sooner or later. I know a lot of us want it to happen very soon and that's still a high probability. I anticipate Iraq to really grow into who we think they should be, and that is one of the wealthiest nations in the world. Walking stick, Katfa. Via Guru Frank 26. We told you they would continue the education of the monetary reform to the citizens. And the CPI now today explains the reasons of the change in their currency exchange rate. These meetings are still going on. The two criteria are the auctions to stop and change how they use the American dollar and their currency exchange rate against the American dollar. These are the topics of discussion going on right now. This meeting started earlier today, Saturday. They're talking about the IQD. The powerhouses are talking about the monetary reform in a series of chronological events. They're having a powwow so they can tell the citizens. This whole thing is ongoing. It's hot. This thing is moving fast for a reason. We told you the CPI would explain the reasons for the currency exchange rate change and the changing of the auctions with the American dollar. That is exactly what they're doing. We thought 2 days to see this, instead we see the urgency to accomplish these two important crucial steps in the monetary reform in the unstoppable lava flow. Things are happening at the speed of light. These meetings are now dealing with these two powerful subjects that we only have dreamed about that they would talk about, let alone talk to the citizens about. And they're happening fast. Frank 26, Katfa. Article 1. Central Bank, the dollar appreciation will end this week. Article 2. Central Bank information, the rise in the dollar exchange rate will end this week. I don't know whether to cry or to cry. Really, if it ends then you gotta raise the value of your currency. And it tells you that's what they're doing. It's so powerful. Quote. We're to use 75% in dollars and 25% in dinars. They were using 100% of the dollar and now it's only 75% of it. Guess what it'll be next week? IMO, the new small category notes and the coins is in the pipeline. It might be upon us very quickly. Man 23. There is economic calamity and it is worldwide. That being said, IMF released a statement saying it will be worse than 12 years ago. Buckle crew, Looks like a global reset could be reality, and that is the only dinar savior. Never bought into the reset, but it's sure looking that it's on the table, and very likely. We are going to find out shortly, because it's really very soon or never. Iraqi dinar evaluation and global currency reset news. Dinar Chronicles. Courtesy of Dinar Guru.